public meetings in accordance with the Openness of Local Government Bodies Regulation 2014. People may now, however, act in a way considered to be disruptive and may be asked to leave. Emergency evacuation procedure, Council Chamber, turn left, follow the green emergency exit sign to the main town hall entrance and proceed to the 7 points of George's Square. What apologies for absence tonight? Any?
Yes, Chair. Apologies have been received on behalf of Councillor Skeppelhorn.
Okay, minutes of the 29th of September. You okay with those? I'll sign them at some point.
Agreed.
Section 106, Local Government Finance Act. Any declarations? Any disclosures of interest tonight?
None, Chair.
Members. So we go straight on the agenda proper. I'll go to urgent business. Not aware of any.
None, Chair.
So we'll go to agenda item 6, Safety of Northwell Drive Crossing Report. 8-9. Are you going to cover this one?
Chair, that's correct.
Yeah, and I've got Councillor Robert Roach who wants to speak on behalf of this after you've done your report. Okay.
Okay, do you want the Councillor, do you want to speak first? Okay, thank you. Okay, so, thank you, Chair. So we've obviously had a petition in for the safety of Northwell Drive crossing. Okay, so the purpose of today is to obviously investigate the assertion of safety concerns raised on Northwell Drive and respond to a petition requesting appropriate safety measures be taken. To be undertaken. So recommendations are the Petitions and Representations Board is recommended to request officers to investigate the aspect of safety of pedestrians, including vulnerable road users, alighting a bus from the bus stop located opposite Woodlands Secondary School, located on Northwell Drive, to establish if the existing provisions are suitable. So, if I may continue, the background is what we have a petition signed by what I believe is 211 number residents in the local area, which was received in October of this year, so last month, asking the Council to investigate and address these safety concerns, which we just discussed, for Northwell Drive, for pedestrians getting across the road. So, similar wording, which is about the safety concerns on Northwell Drive, opposite Woodland Secondary School. A site visit will be carried out to establish if there is a safety issue, indeed, relating to the pedestrians crossing the road between the bus stop and the school. So, what else are we looking at doing? A speed radar survey, which will be carried out on the street, which will be next month. So, we've got here December this year, prior to the school Christmas break, to establish if there is a speeding issue on Northwell Drive outside the school itself. Along with the safety observations and the speed radar survey, a collision data report will be completed also to establish whether there is a speeding issue along this road at this location, and then the officers will report back with findings. And just a reminder really of the duties. The Council has a statutory duty to improve road safety on its network. As an extension of this duty, ensures that roads are designed with measures where necessary to ensure that road safety can be maintained as far as reasonable and practicable. It should be noted that where the Council does not have powers to undertake enforcement against drivers that drive in a dangerous manner or without due care and attention, these are offences that the local constabulary have powers to enforce against, in this case, Bedfordshire Police. Pending the findings of the site visits, the speed radar survey even, and collision study, a report will be produced outlining what measures, if appropriate, are going to be required to improve safety, compliance and reduce collisions as part of the Council's 5-year rolling programme of local safety schemes. Proposal and options: to undertake the above proposed observations, surveys and report to ascertain if there is an evidence issue in relation to safety at this location, and report back to the lead petitioner with findings and any proposals should they be required. Thank you very much.
Questions by members? Can I just ask the question? It's an ordinary crossing, is it? Pedestrian crossing outside of Woodlands. I'm not familiar with the area.
Sorry, I'm aware of the Northwell Drive crossing. It's an underpass, effectively, that's there. I think the main concern is the bus stop. When obviously the buses pull over, I think what's happening, from what I can understand, is children and others are risking walking across the road during live traffic and potentially having a near miss. And I think that's what this is about. The underpass itself, from what I understand, and obviously we can look into it further once I've done the investigations, but my provisional look at this is that the underpass doesn't lead to the entrance of the school, which is also a concern. So this will be covered in the report of findings once I'm able to put these together, following the plans of putting the investigations into place.
Okay. Any further questions? Yeah, Francis.
Just, sorry, very quickly, you said survey carried out in December before school broke up. What's the timescale following that? Just roughly, obviously.
So, you know, we don't have very long, do we, before the schools break up, which is why your question is probably very, very important, really. So I will be investigating. I'm looking at either next week or the week after, physically getting to site, having a look, assessing the traffic situation, looking at observing how people actually cross the road, trying to catch a bus dropping people off so I can fully appreciate and understand what those safety issues are, because if there clearly is a problem there, we need to look at that very closely.
I think all due, of course, we'd like children and parents to walk to school. It would certainly help, providing it's safe to do so. Any other questions? And I'll bring in Rob. Rob Roach, you can, as a ward councillor, if you want to say something.
Just a quick question, Chair. So, school across the road currently.
I can cover that in my.
Oh.
Okay. Thank you, Chair, and thank you for the committee for allowing me to speak this evening. And I don't disagree with much what Carl said. The underpass, though, is well away from the school, and the only way to get into the entrance to the school is to cross that road. As you know, I'm the ward councillor there, but I'm also representing the school because I'm a governor at the school, and I know the impact it's had on the school. But you may be asking the question, why has it come up now, which I'm going to cover because it's not come up in the past. The reason for this petition arises from the changes made to the passenger transport unit in delivering children to Woodlands High School, which is a special education needs school, and that's what we have to bear in mind. These are children with special education needs. The school is not complaining about the changes, but we need to highlight the impact it's had in the cost to the school and safety of the children and parents who no longer use the PTU for school travel. Firstly, I'll cover what the cost is. Fewer students have been allocated spaces on the buses provided by the local authority. Last year, 60% of students used the buses. This has now dropped to 40%, leaving 20% using public transport, walking and other modes of transportation. The school is now having to deal with a different modes of transportation, which is an effect of more vehicles now travelling to the school, along with the PTU buses bringing the allocated bus user pupils to the school. So there's sort of a clash of these vehicles. The head of the school now must allocate a staff rota on a daily basis, which he didn't have to do before, on both arrivals and leaving the school premises to ensure safety to the children and good traffic management. The rota allowed for 25 minutes in the morning and 30 minutes in the afternoon, relating to a cost that the school cannot afford and indeed did not have to manage before the change. The cost is in the region of £758.92 per day, which could work out something in the region around about £15,000 over a 4-week period. On the point around the safety, the school has informed the police, the local authority and Lee Manor School of the potential for higher impact volume of traffic in Northwell Drive. Northwell Drive is being one of the main roads in and out of Mars Farm. The school is situated at the roundabout with Northwell Drive and has a bus stop opposite school, which Cole has mentioned. The school now must operate a one-way system, hence the reason for the staff to be outside monitoring, directing traffic in one exit and out another exit. This must be taken into consideration with the arrival of the local authority buses, which means a high volume of traffic at the school point and a small amount of time making a tail back onto Northwell Drive. The other consideration is for safety of children who have special education needs, arriving by bus or walking, sometimes being delivered in a wheelchair. These families and children need to be guided safely across the road to allow the children to enter and leave the school. These are children with special education needs and of high school age, so sometimes hard to manage and restrain if they decide to run off. I visited the site and met with the head to see how it operates for myself and saw public buses arriving with children and families trying to navigate Northwell Drive to gain entry into the school with difficulty, as some of these vehicles are travelling fast. In other cases, I saw drivers stopping in the middle of the road sympathetically to allow people to cross, to allow the children and the families to cross, but not knowing what the vehicles are doing on the other side of the road, coming in the opposite direction. Also, other drivers are becoming quite irate because another vehicle has stopped unnecessarily in the middle of the road in front of them. I asked the service director of highways to visit the site, Mark Harrison, which he did, and he saw that a safety crossing was required, but said it would need to be in the budget for next year because of lack of funds for this year. My ask is not just for a safety crossing, but there's no signage at the school. I mean, this is a school that has no signage outside saying it's a school. Identifying it as a school like other schools. The school needs help with arranging a proper traffic management system to assist the school, which Mark has agreed the highways department could do. So basically, rather than have the staff out there, we're trying to arrange a proper traffic management in and out of the school, which highways said they could help with. The report mentions checking the speeding, but this all takes time, and daily there is concern for the children trying to enter or leave the school now. Proper traffic management, signage, safety crossings will have an impact on the speed. And in relation to the funding, which I totally understand, I asked the committee for the council to look at other support in the meantime, in the way of maybe looking at the budget of a school patrol officer to see what budget was there and to see if we are able to put one in place in the interim, because we want to try and avoid any accidents there, because it's not very nice seeing these children trying to cross that road in wheelchairs. Thank you, Chair. Thank you for the time.
Thanks for that, Rob. It was most helpful. Any questions to Ward Councillor yet, Francis?
Yeah, can I, please? So, can you just recap on the drop from 60% to 40%? Is that council provided transport to?
We've changed our policy transport, didn't we, in relation to children going to schools to give them, in special needs schools, to give them more independence. So basically the council now will offer them allocated money, and they can go on a bus, they can go on a taxi. Some of them will walk to school. So basically, because of the way we've changed our policy, that's the impact it's had on school, which no one's disagreeing with the change of policy. They're just trying to explain they want me to explain to the committee and the council the impact it's having on their staff and their cost, and that they believe what is the safety of their children.
Yeah, thanks. I mean, I get that, but it's also going to now cost more money, isn't it? One way or the other.
Yes.
Just a point, really. Could the community police be approached just for some interim support? PCSOs be approached from the community police team for some interim support?
I don't think so. I'm not sure what they can offer in the way of traffic management. It's not going to take a lot of time for highways to do a traffic management, put proper signage there. I appreciate the safety crossing needs to be looked at and safely where it goes, and Mark Harrison sort of agreed it on site with the head. So I don't see a problem being one there. But I think we probably would like to see in the interim if there's any budget for a school crossing patrol officer in the interim, just to see if that can help take the slack away from the school, really. But I can't see the PCSOs unless they're going to direct traffic or stop traffic in the middle of the road. Other than that, yeah.
Or after school, just a thought.
Any further questions? Please.
Less a question, more a comment, just back up something that Rob said, because it's near my area as well. And I know because of, it's almost like a side road that isn't a proper road that links Norwell Drive to the school, and the only signage there is of it being a school is off that side road. So if anyone is driving quite down Norwell Drive, which is quite a major road, and was unaware the school was there, they wouldn't know there was a school there at all. There's, as Rob mentioned, there is generally no way of seeing a signpost. They'll probably be more aware there is a non-special needs high school with Green Manor further down that road. They would have no awareness there would be a school of any type there, because there is no there's no signpost you can see from Norwell Road itself, Norwell Drive itself.
There's enough space outside, because the school's set back, and there's enough space outside the school for proper traffic management, but they need to be helped with that, because they're teachers, they're head teachers, they're not, you know, highway guys like Kyle here. So they need to have support about traffic management, signage, that sort of thing, and a lot of that will help the school in relation to their looking after the children in the mornings. There'll always be staff out there, but at the moment there's more staff out there than they had in the past.
I think, unless there are any more questions or comments, we'll move with the recommendation. So, Kyle, we look forward to the report coming back to see what can actually be done and achieved. Because it does seem really, not knowing the area, there does seem to be a problem there, especially the school signage, which I think is a big omission.
Thank you, Chair. Can I ask you a question? Just one last question on this.
Yes,
so obviously there's been discussion on having a appropriate temporary traffic management solution, or from what you're discussing. I think it's very, very difficult to put temporary traffic management solution in place without, in some way, obviously hindering traffic flow, and so we've got to try and get a balance between traffic flow and safety of people. That's the difficulty. Whilst we're looking for a permanent solution, obviously I need to investigate how bad the situation is there further. My thoughts are, I mean, I hear what you say. Mark Aronson, you suggested, has already met the head teacher. Whilst that is helpful, I'm not sure when that meeting was. A couple of weeks ago. Okay. So, okay. So it may be worthwhile as well as the safety manager to actually, for myself, to maybe have that discussion with the head teacher as well, if not catch up with Mark, so we can sort of put all our heads together and try and find, you know, identify all the issues and then try to find, if there is an obvious solution, try to run with a solution. But obviously it sounds like there's no, and from what I can see, there's no budget potentially this year, but we need to look into that further in balance with the urgency of this petition. Okay, in balance. Thank you.
I see in 6, the council has a statutory duty to improve road safety on its network. I guess it's an ideal opportunity to improve road safety.
Absolutely, something we need to look at. Without dismissing it, you know, we need to investigate it first and see what can be done.
Especially a pretty good safety around schools, as far as I'm aware. I know my own ward, they're great. Okay, the recommendation, are you agreed? And it'll come back to us next year? Agreed?
Agreed.
Thank you. Item, which is a report back, isn't it? I get the right page. I think it's you again, Kyle, isn't it? Oh, Wellgate Road pedestrian safety report.
That's right. Thank you, Chair. I'm afraid it's the same format, so if you get used to the same format, me repeating a couple of things, please bear with me. So yes, it's the petition for Wellgate Road pedestrian safety. So the purpose is obviously to discuss and update actions in relation to concerns that have been raised around the footway and driveways being obstructed, visibility issues and a broken footway on Wellgate Road. So recommendations. The Petitions and Representations Board is recommended to request officers to investigate the condition of the footway and visit site to observe the parking situation, from an intervisibility and safety perspective, and report back on any findings or actions that are deemed necessary. Background to this, there is a petition signed by 13 number residents in the local area that has been submitted, stating that there is a requirement to enforce the parking on the yellow lines and repair the broken pavement beside the new wall to the property, and restrict the parking on the junction of Wellgate Road with the junction of Sandgate. And this is just obviously the statutory duty for the council to improve road safety on its network as an extension of this duty, to ensure that the highway is designed and maintained with measures where necessary to ensure safety of highway users where practicable and reasonable to do so. That's a key statement. Pending the investigation, proposals to install measures to improve the safety of the highway will be made subject to the findings of the report. So, in particular, the focus is to investigate the condition of the footway outside number 18 Wellgate Road. So this is where the main issue is, where that boundary wall was built and the footway is said to be broken. And determine if vehicles are parking in a dangerous and obstructive manner on the street outside this property, and also near the junction with Sandgate. As part of this investigation, consideration will be made if there is also a legal matter for resolution with the relevant landowner. And that's all I have in that regard. Obviously, we're going to investigate the matter. I don't think I have the next part printed out on my sheet, but basically we're going to investigate the matter. I'm going to observe the parking situation, and I'm going to talk to other departments to ensure there isn't actually a legal case that we need to deal with here with the landowner, and then report back findings.
Any questions? Agree to the recommendation? Okay. That's the end of the business we have tonight. Thank you very much for your attendance. I wish I could have done the same last night.